Hellmaster EX. This award-winning system features the first single-engine joystick with digital electric steering and new autopilot capability. See Hellmaster EX in action at a Yamaha Outboard dealer or visit YamahaOutboards.com.
The Fishing News is sponsored by these fine partners.
The season of gift giving is here. Why not share the gift of fishing that lasts all year long? A subscription to the Fisherman magazine is just that. 12 glossy print issues and 26 weekly digital issues delivered to your inbox. Plus, weekly reports and full access to the website, all for just $29.95. And you're automatically eligible for the Dream Boat Challenge, with your chance to win a new Steigercraft powered by Yamaha. Visit thefisherman.com/subscribe for that ultimate gift.
The scene at Brick Beach on Saturday morning, 2 days after Thanksgiving. Friends and family on the beaches looking for a score. I typically won't spot burn here, but that was then, long time ago it would seem, especially based on my trip on Tuesday. Besides, you probably heard about this already, everyone did. Pluggers hoping to score, the fleet just offshore, everyone waiting for the same thing. Now, I'm looking south across the border towards Seaside. It was a holiday weekend, and this particular stretch lit up off and on for days. So the crowds, they were thick. Just by looking at this picket fence, one shouldn't assume the bite was en fuego, because it wasn't. Not on the beach. Not at this point. Not at this point. It was a pick Saturday morning. Yet looking out at the fleet, if I look out towards the boats, you see the humpback whale feeds upon bunker and sand eels. Clearly, the fish are there, just a little outside. You can see them breaking, but the tide just keeps dropping. The bars exposed, the sloughs perhaps too shallow to hold bait or bass. So you think it might not happen on this low water until it does. Right in front of your eyes. Saturday, November 30th, just afternoon, low tide, and the stripers pushed bait up the bar for a post-Thanksgiving feast that couldn't be beat. Imagine the thrill of walking down to the water with this sight in front of you. That water line beyond the breakers, that's all bass pushing peanuts across the bar. And only a few people were there on the bar at the time, but that quickly changes, especially during a holiday weekend. That was my buddy John Tiedemann. When we stumbled onto that, I said, "John, get out of the truck." He wades out to the bar. I grabbed my rod, but then I said, no, I got to grab the video camera. I got to record this to show that boiling water with bunker pushed across the bar. And almost as quickly as it happened, it dissipated, and the fish were gone. I'm Jim Hutchinson with a New Jersey, Delaware Bay edition of the Fisherman magazine. It's Thursday, December 5th, 2024, and some really excellent conditions in Ocean County, especially over the holiday weekend. Word got out about Saturday's blitz. Sunday was a circus. I chose to avoid the circus because ask anybody, ask my family, I don't like clowns. I'm afraid of clowns. So I chose a quieter location a little farther to the north. Had some decent fish on sand eels, the Tsunami sand eel imitations, even as the bass were picking on peanuts. And there they were, the whales out front, and even had bluefin tuna crashing just beyond my cast. And I can burn a spot 5 days after during these movable feasts. The bunker moving along the beach, the adults, the cupcakes, the peanuts, and those sand eels as well. But there's no telling where this pops up next and whether it's going to be on one day or not the next. I did get skunked on Tuesday with Tiedemann and my buddy Mike Wayne. We were driving the beaches of Brick and they just weren't there. Dead Sea, proving that you just never know. But by the time you're watching this, in stiff winds on Thursday, I would mind you, it could be happening. It could happen anytime. But I'm here this week, this event in Atlantic City. It's called the Folsom Corporation Tackle Show. It's a retailer-only event. What happens is a lot of the manufacturers, major manufacturers, the Penns, the Shimanos, the Yazuris, the Rapalas, the Power Pro, all of them, they're in town this week. The Tsunami, this whole line of Tsunami tackle. But this is where a lot of the retail outfits, the tackle shops in Pennsylvania, Delaware, New Jersey, up into New York as well. They're here buying their new gear for a new year. It's always super helpful to me to see what some of the patterns are, the patterns of buying, because the buyers are thinking, the tackle shops thinking, I know what the customers want. They're telling me what they want to buy. So I'm getting it, and I'm gonna get it in shops for 2025. Later in this week's video, perhaps I'll talk to a couple of these folks to see what's hot on stores, on pegboards now, and especially what's coming in 2025. Some interesting new items for 2025 as we head into the year. It is the top fishery, of course, at the Jersey Shore this time of year. In November, it's striped bass. Even though tog and black sea bass are also in play, more on those wrecked denizens in just a few moments. Some cool emails in my Outlook to start this week. A lot of folks really had a great time over the Thanksgiving weekend. Mark Ramos sent video of this scene heading towards Barnegat Inlet this week. He said, quote, "Thank you for getting me out fishing. I spent Monday, December 2nd aboard the Miss Barnegat Light. What a great vessel." Mark said the crew was helpful and friendly, as were all the others that were fishing that day. It was cold out, it was windy to say the least, but the spacious cab was warm with lots of chilled people. Mark said the fishing was pretty good as well. Speaking of those headboats getting on striped bass, I spoke to Captain Chris Lito aboard the Gambler. He works with Captain Bobby Bogan. And he said the headboats like his, they love this fall striper fishery because ordinarily a lot of these boats are pressing offshore for sea bass or doing the inshore wrecks for tog. But when the stripers are just off the beach, it's a short travel. You're only using jigs. You don't have to worry about the bait. And the customers want it. The customers are saying, Cap, get me out there. Get me out on those stripers that are just beyond casting distance. And of course, like I said, it's easier not having to gather bait and deal with bait all day. You've got the Avas and the swim shads and some of the experienced guys, of course, standing on the bow throwing those topwater offerings. Bill Mosey of Ocean, he emailed me this week as well. He said he added 2 more striper anglers to the mix. They weren't really hardcore striper fishermen. The biggest fish they'd ever caught was small fluke. But his son Matt was home from college for Thanksgiving with Harper and Ezra Lambert, and they caught up on a massive feed just south of Manasquan on Sunday. That's where that incredible bite and that circus was. Harper and Ezra are hooked, but Bill said his wife Kim, she's especially hooked because she switched over from bait and started throwing the top waters, and she goes, I'm doing this from now on. So it's great. And these guys, Ezra and his buddy there, they're now gearing up to go surf fishing. So yeah, everything that I've spoken about in the last several weeks, this is the time of year where people get into stripers for the first time in some of these conditions and are like, I'm hooked, I want to get back on it. And that's what this fishery does. There's not even enough space in this week's video for me to share all the texts, the messages, and the emails that I've gotten in the past week. Emails like this one from Andrew McCon last Tuesday in the surf, Ocean County, 36-incher on an Ava 17 with a green tail. I know some of the plug purists look down their nose, they're like, I got to get those custom plugs, but the Avas and the teasers are working too. And again, that's a lot of times when those sand eels are in there. But Andrew told me too, he said it wasn't just the diamond jigs, he also had those pencil poppers in there as well. Francisco de Oliveira had a 44-inch striper caught on the outgoing tide on a custom C80 metal lip swimmer made by Cesar Carranza. That was at Island Beach, caught and released safely. Now the big fish that I heard about last week, I believe it was Wednesday when this fish was caught. But this was last week we had Charlie's Bait and Tackle, the Surf Turkey Tournament, and the Berkeley Striper Club also had their Ponytail Mike. The big fish was a 50-incher for Craig Serrero. He won both those tournaments, those catch and release tournaments. Pencil popper 50-inch fish, an impressive fish. Oh my God, 50 inches, that's a good fish. Around Barnegat Inlet, the Haynes boys got on them Tuesday by boat. Skunksville on the beach for me, like I said, but still, if you're out in the boat, you can press out. Because it seemed like that west wind and that cooling water, those stripers were off the beach, and maybe the sand eels pushed off the beach as well. I know the bunker weren't in, so sometimes the boaters do have that better access to get on there. South Jersey beaches as well, getting down into the Brigantine, Absecon Inlet area. Greg Marr Charters had Brendan Trait and the boys out this week out of Absecon Inlet. They said, quote, caught more fish than we could count. and we did end up with our limit. Stripers from 28 to 38 inches. That's here. That's right off of where I am now in Atlantic City. Those fish are here. That was caught on a Riptide bait and tackle shad bar. Behind Absecon Inlet, I saw Dave Scholl walking the floor here today as well. Dave's been getting out on his trips in the back bays, Absecon Bay. Think Mullica River, great bay as well. But Dave said he had Don Kleiner down from Maine for some striper fishing. And Don, he actually took out the fly gear. So it's not just the live spots or the swim shads, but Don was getting on some fly fishing stripers in the back as well. And yeah, I've spoken about this for weeks. While marinas in Cape May County do begin to roll up the docks pretty early in the season when compared to the North Country, Ocean and Monmouth County, those marinas typically stay open a little bit later. But Mike at Sea Isle Bait and Tackle said Jeff and his buddy Fred reported some awesome fishing off Cape May County with lots of overs, and they were caught on the jig. You may not see those sustained blitzes in South Jersey like you do up in North Jersey, in the north of Barnegat Inlet, but I'll tell you, these blitz conditions have not been sustained for hours at a time like they have been in falls past. So you might pop up on a blitz, it might last 5 minutes, it might last 30 minutes. But you also want to fish around them too. Don't just follow the blitzes. Set yourself up in some of these locations. Maybe throw the Tsunami sand eels or the Ava jigs with a teaser first. Have those pencils, the swim shads, and the spooks ready to go after that. Now, South Jersey, Atlantic, and Cape May County, if you still have that November edition of the Fisherman magazine lying around, find Captain Scott Newhall's spotlight on South Jersey stripers. How and when? That's not just November, but it takes you November into December. And speaking with some of the folks who have bubblers in the backyards and they keep their boats in as long as possible, yeah, you're going to have that January fishery down here into Cape May County as well. Of course, it's the December edition of the Fisherman magazine that you now have on the top of your coffee table. That's the one with our holiday gift guide. And inside, the Bluefin article by Captain Jimmy Frieda, head boat options with Nick Konicheski, Angelo Peluso's Feast of the Seven Fishes, winter walleye with the Pocono Outdoors Guy, who we'll hear from in a couple of minutes, and my full write-up about the ASMFC, which this Thursday, tonight, we'll be talking about striped bass. We'll talk about that in just a couple of minutes. But first, let's talk Blackfish. Tautog, 5 fish bag limit at the Jersey Shore went into place November 16th. And for the most part, it's been a tough bite. It's been a grind for a lot of the folks that are off on the inshore wrecks. And that's because those tog have been on the jetties and the bridges inshore back behind the barrier islands for so long. That cold snap we just had in the past week, I think it's time that we start looking at those inshore and offshore wrecks for tog, because you can expect those tog to start going east now that the colder water is finally in place. If you're looking to get into this unique fishery, now is the time, but I want to offer some advice. Jenni shares her passion for blackfish this week in Open Boat. As you're targeting those jumbos on the deep wrecks, you'll want to let those big old fat fecund females go, those personal bests, those 15, 16, 20 pounders. Here's more. If you got frost on the pumpkin, it's time to be looking for tog.
There's frost on the pumpkins, my open boaters, and that can only mean one thing. It's blackfish season. Let's go. Hey everyone, welcome to this week's Open Boat. As you can see, I'm so stoked to be talking about my favorite fish to catch, the blackfish. Now, as you know, I'm very conservationist when it comes to, well, all species, but specifically blackfish. I care about the species. Yes, I do catch and I eat them, but I do release considerately. So I just wanted to do a quick video on discussing, proper catch and release methods when it comes to blackfishing. It's a little bit different from stripers because you can get them off the surf or you can get them in shallow water. Specifically, like for example, this weekend, I'm doing a back-to-back heavy hitters Cape May fishing trip down there. So you're fishing deeper water. So when it comes to blackfishing in deeper water, the depth change from bringing them up from such deep depths can cause them to get barotrauma. So one thing that I've seen when we catch a big blackfish that we want to release, a big thing when you release the bigger blackfish, that's all I could say. If they can, a lot of the times they do unfortunately die, but there are ways to prevent that. So when you catch your big blackfish and you want to release it, don't immediately try to revive it in the water. One thing that we've done on the boat that has actually worked really well is we put the fish in a live well and let it swim around and acclimate until it's, a couple minutes have passed, it's adjusted to being yoinked out of the depths deep, and then try to, place it in the water. Keep your hands wet the entire time. I know that's so difficult to do when it's cold, but if you want to keep the blackfish population like growing and thriving, just do it. You can literally warm up your hands with hand warmers. They're like $2 at the store. So get some hand warmers for the aftermath of releasing your fish. So get your hands wet, because dry skin to fish skin contact is no bueno. Wet your hands, grab that fish, always support the fish under the belly and the back of the tail. Never just grab the hooks or boga it and grab it. Hold it, I always say hold it like a baby. Always hold it like a baby, but not like, don't keep it towards your Stormar or whatever, on your outerwear you're wearing, because that's, it's like skin to skin contact. You don't want that. So just hold it, support it, like you're holding a baby. You don't want to drop it. They are very tough fish, but still, you don't want to drop a like 15-pound blackfish on the deck of a boat. Like, okay, calm down. So you're gonna put it back in the water, hold it by its tail, still supporting it, but once it's in the water, you can move your front hand off of its belly, and just do the figure eights. And if that fish is ready to go, which if it's been sitting in the live well for some time, it's gonna be ready to go. It'll take off with that tail and just shoot back down to the bottom. So with blackfish season coming up to full peak, you're going offshore a lot. So that's one major thing to consider. And another thing that I do that a lot of people don't like, but it's what I do, is I only keep what I eat. I don't fill the freezer with blackfish. Sea bass, on the other hand, forget about it. But for blackfish, I just keep what I eat, and I usually eat it that day. Maybe in the near distant future, after my fishing trips, we could do a chowder video, just in case your buddy gives you like a ton of blackfish. So we could do maybe a blackfish chowder video. I'm hungry right now thinking about it. But I only keep what I eat, and if not, if I do get like given blackfish, or I end up keeping a lot from a trip from people who don't want it, I will give it to my friends. It's the Christmas season. I think everyone would like a blackfish fillet here and there. So this is just like important things to consider, especially for me. Like, I can go on and on and on talking about blackfish, but I really care about the species, and I'm young still, so I would like to see this species stick around for, a little bit longer, maybe like my whole lifespan here, because I love catching them, and you can see the smile on my face, the pure passion for this species. So with that, be considerate, take care of the fish, and the fishery to come will take care of you. Be the change you want to see. Just do it. Don't mess it up, because you're going to be regretting it in a couple years when there's no blackfish around to be caught, or they outsmart you and they don't want to eat your jig. That's why rig fishing rules. So get your rigs ready, tie on your jigs, get yourself ready to drop deep and get on some blackfish this winter season. Dress warm, and I'll see you guys on next week's Open Boat.
Now, until December 31st, Tsunami is giving away a Salt X waterproof backpack when you purchase a new Salt X2 reel. With its 19 seals and machined aluminum frame, the rugged Salt X2 can conquer any fishing condition you may face. Check out the QR code for all the details.
With 3 convenient in-water locations, Waterfront Marine has one of the largest inventories on the East Coast of premium brand boats. Their exceptional service department, fully stocked parts department, and ship store will ensure smooth sailing after the sale. Visit our 3 locations or online.
Mentioned it before, black sea bass, that's in play for the month of December. Get on them before December 31st. The best place to score this month typically those offshore wrecks. So the best advice I can give you on black sea bass is leave the driving to somebody else. Hop aboard those headboats. As the headboats start getting away from that ease of use of the striper fishery, now that things are maybe starting to slow down and those fish are traveling to the south, more headboats out of all the ports in New Jersey are going to be pressing offshore right now. You got them in ports all the way down into Delaware, into Lewis and Indian River as well. For more on what to expect on that headboat potpourri this month, go to page 28. In the December edition of the Fisherman magazine, Nick Honachewski's got an article on those trips, who's sailing, where they're sailing from, and what you can target, porgies, ling, all the great species. That article will help you score. Problematically, if you're heading out of Manasquan this weekend, this is just in from the Department of Transportation. The Brielle Railroad drawbridge over the Manasquan River in Brielle will be closed to navigation due to maintenance during the following periods. So if you're on the Manasquan River, check this out. 5 a.m. Saturday, December 7th to 5 a.m. Monday, December 9th. And then again, 5 a.m. December 14th to 5 a.m. Monday, December 16th. A work barge will also block the navigation channel beneath the bridge during this time, and the bridge will not open for emergencies. Couldn't have happened at a worse time. I had a friend of mine who got stuck in that bridge closure the other day. He was out in his Bertram, his 31 Bertram. He said, I'm still going out. So he made the run through the canal all the way down out Barnegat Inlet just to get on that striper fishery. Bluefin tuna, that's another option, another possibility that's in play right now, weather permitting, of course. I saw him busting out in the pocket at Manasquan the other day. I told you that. Big giant bluefin busting on bait. I would have loved to have gotten spooled. No, actually I wouldn't have, because I'm too cheap to pay for another spool of line. Captain Jim Frieda is going bonkers right now on the bass bite, but as soon as that starts to slow up, I can guarantee you he's going to be chasing bluefin on the mid-range grounds, inshore grounds as well. You'll find that article, page 22, December edition of the Fisherman magazine, Holiday Bluefin. Get on them now. Striped bass management options. It's been a big discussion for all the tackle shops, manufacturers, and reps here at the Folsom Show. That comes December 5th. I'm going to talk more about that, give you a sneak peek at Death or Bunda. Plus, we'll check in with a few friends here at the Folsom Show on some of the new items you'll find in shops right now and coming out in 2025. But first, let's go west for a freshwater update with my man George, the Pocono Outdoors Guy.
Well, hey, thanks, Jim. You know, the cool weather has finally set in as we're well into December now, but that doesn't mean we have to give up opportunities to get out and wet a line. We had a couple guys check in this week, mainly out in the rivers, actually getting into some good fish. Delaware River, we had Tim Keeper check in. He and Rick were out doing some fishing up in the Regalsville area and managed to get into a bunch of really nice smallmouth. That water up there right now is about 36 degrees, so it didn't seem to bother those smallmouth any, so some good opportunities there if you want to get out. If we look over in the Susquehanna, we had friend Nick Canestra. Well, he's out, as always, hammering these smallmouth with his little swim shads and soft plastics. Always a good opportunity this time of year to get into smallmouth. Some other options, guys, we had a guy check in from the Lac-O-Axon. Rich Bates managed to get himself into an absolutely beautiful muskie. I'll take one of them any time of year, but as we've been talking about, these cool water fish, they really excel this time of year. Again, the soft plastics, you can get in there with jerk baits are always good as well. Lots of options if you wanted to get in some fish. Just don't give up because it's cold. And I'll tell you what, Jim, we've had a few guys even talking about some hard water. So we may have some more information on some ice fishing in the next week or two. So time to get these tip-ups out and get them ready. It could be that time of year. Guys, go out and get on them. But from Pennsylvania, I'm George, your Pocono Outdoors Guy.
Battle 4.
The Atlantic States Marine Fisheries Commission will make a final decision on striped bass regulations for 2025. That will happen on December 16th. Before then, tonight, Thursday, December 5th, we're going to get a taste of the options that are coming down the pike. You can get the full rundown on why this is happening in the December edition of the Fisherman magazine. That's my article on the ASMFC decision that was made earlier this fall. And then earlier this week, we sent out a news brief. You'll find that at thefisherman.com. I wrote this up about the presentation on Thursday night. Gives you an idea on how to log into that webinar. Now on Tuesday, I received a copy of the final options to be discussed, or jammed down our throats. It's up the way you look at it. But this is what happens when you fast-track decisions without any reasonable discussion amongst interested and engaged stakeholders and managers. Whatever viewpoint on this fishery you might have, rushing ahead without vetting and discussion and figuring out what everybody needs and figuring out what all the best options are to maintain the striper fishery for the future, doing it without thinking and discussing, that's ridiculous. It can never be good. And clearly, these options that are on the screen right now were designed from people who are not in New Jersey, Massachusetts, for example, who just want to punish New Jersey because we suddenly have all the fish. In nearly all of these options on the screen, Massachusetts, for example, skates by without taking much of a sacrifice at all. They're the ones that led this movement. They're also the ones that have a 700,000 pound commercial quota that they distribute to anybody who wants a tag. You and I could drive up there ourselves and we could become commercial fishermen. So anyone who fishes in Massachusetts and has a driver's license and a checkbook can catch, kill, and sell as many stripers as they want on up to 700,000 pounds of quota. These options are the ones, and among some others, that are going to be presented to the public on Thursday. And the good folks at the Atlantic States Marine Fisheries Commission, they're going to give us 5 full days to discuss these options and provide feedback before they vote on December 16th. I don't know why they're undermining the public process. I don't know why they're only giving us 5 days. We've been having a lot of conversations here, tackle shops, manufacturers, about these options. You're talking about roughly 60 days of harvest they want to take away along the entire coast in 2025. The question we have here is, how can New Jersey maybe take 30 days at the fall season and 30 days of the spring? I don't know if these are options. We'll find out on Thursday. Again, you'll just have 5 days from Thursday to send your comments back to the ASMFC before they decide once and for all, December 16th, death or bunda. Strange heave appeared in the NOAA weather forecast Thursday, getting west winds and wave heights upwards of 11 feet. Could be an interesting bit of unsettled weather considering the volume of striper reports coming from offshore where those bluefin fishermen are, 15 miles out, 30, 40, 50 pound stripers rolling on sand eels with all of those bluefin. But it does look like as we head into Saturday and Sunday, the waves will lay down and the winds will lighten up. At some point, I have to get off the darn beach. It's been difficult in the last several weeks. I haven't seen my family since Thanksgiving. And I do have a boat that I've forgotten that I have to get out of the water. But the longer the surf run of stripers goes, the more impacted we all are in our little universe. And that means it affects all of us, and especially down here in Atlantic and Cape May County, because hopefully you're getting that striper run coming in mid-December. But we've got some holiday shopping to do. We've got Christmas and we've got Hanukkah coming up same day. Both start the same day, December 25th. I did get a chance to talk to a couple of folks here at Folsom to find out some of the new items that are in shops right now and some of the things that are coming out in 2025. You know, you've been following the Fisherman magazine for a while. The brand new Saltex 2 is out. You saw the new product showcase from ICAST this year. And this holiday season, you can get the Saltex 2, plus you get a brand new Saltex 2 bag. This is a very special deal. But we've got something special coming up in January from the folks at Tsunami. Jerry Gomer's going to tell us about something I think you're going to be excited about.
We've taken the existing Saltex 2 reel, which is a thorough upgrade over the prior product, and we've enhanced that even more with what we're calling our Armor Tech coating. This is a harder, smoother, protective coating on the reel than anodizing or alamite coatings that you would typically find on a production reel today. This resists scratches and corrosion much better than any of the other anodized coatings. It's designed to protect your investment in these real high-tech reels and keep you from worrying about corrosion and scratches, even if you're jetty fishing and happen to drop the rod and reel trying to get that big fish.
Scott from Grumpy's here. I'm very excited to announce we're going to have these Jigging World retro rods in our shop next year. These are going to be great for you tog rig guys. We have been playing with these lately, and they are sick rods. They're very glassy to give you what you need to get those blackfish out of the wrecks. Check that out. That's got a lot of heat on it. These things are going to be awesome, and we will have them in store and online at grumpystackle.com.
Hey, what's up? It's Greg at Fisherman headquarters here at the Folsom Show. I'm going to show you guys a couple awesome baits I'm using this fall. Right here's a great twitch bait, perfect peanut bunker match from Yozuri. Catching a lot of striped bass in these this fall, both off the beach and in the boat. That just came out with a brand new color in the pearl. Also that in the bone. Those would be my top 3 favorite colors from them. Also another lure I've been doing a lot of damage on is the Hydro Monster Shots. These are great lure, awesome casting. Distance you get, fish them off the beach, kind of fish them up top with a quick retrieve, but you can also fish them slow and let them fall and kind of flutter down. They have more of a horizontal fall. You can also jig them. So very universal lure from them. Check them out.
Hey, I'm Chris Gatley with Mustad. For those looking for some neat items for your stocking stuffer this fall, we have some new tools for Mustad. This is what they look like in the store. This happens to be the multi-scissor tool, so you have a good cutter. You have a place that you can actually cinch and pull knots. You can put this on a split ring. We even give you a little sharpener there. Just a nice, neat little tool, around $20 at retail.
What's up, guys? Jeff here at Wolfpack Tackle. As everybody knows, the Bluefin tunas are up and down the East Coast, right off New Jersey, 15 miles off the beach. We have our Wolfpack Tackle ahi heads here. Absolute killer on these inshore bluefins. You can fish them with a ballyhoo or with our ahi tails. Absolute dynamite for the inshore bluefins. We also have our new product for this coming fall, our Wolfpack paddle tails. These come in 1 ounce up to 4 ounce with tails from 3 inch up to 5 inch or up to 7.5 inch. Great gift, guys, for Christmas time. Get your loved ones some Wolfpack tackle.